Okay, so it's 12:13 p.m. Monday, June 2nd. This is the second video with regard to Tim and accommodations. I think he'll need to look at just for the fun of it, being that he's going to assume a source position through Jay of counseling the religious people out there once Jay crosses over, something to that effect. I haven't been able to understand Jay when he talks about this on this project on Walker Valsius channel, so I'm just shooting from the hip and all of this, what I'm saying. So again, you know, I've already talked about people that I believe Tim will want to hire, have on-prem, even living there in some of the rooms that mansion will have to accommodate their living situation, like having a chef and a sous chef on call at a moment's notice. That's important. And the security people. So anyway, maybe I should have my eyes are giving out on me. I hope they get fixed when Jay works his magic after he crosses over. Anyway, this is my assessment of how the mansion itself should be architecturally designed, the property as well. Definitely, Tim's going to have a study room complete with wall-line flat-screen TVs to monitor the world at large once Jay does the existential job that he wants to do. Then, of course, I mentioned the security people. They are going to need a separate, fully equipped security intelligence room. Also staffed, and I didn't mention this previously, it should be staffed by at least 2 ex-military special ops personnel, including one ET who understands how to deal with combatants on ET terms. Like Penny Bradley, she would know what to do. You know, Penny Bradley, what's her channel anyway? I forget. I'll remember here in a while, I think. Then definitely there'll be a Beam Me Up Scotty transport room. That should be separate from any of the rooms. And, you know, it could be that, of course, you know, ETs can zap you from anywhere around the premises, but let's keep things formal, I think. Then there's going to be, I'm thinking, a contamination room for people coming back and forth into the building. E.T.s and Terra Firma folks. Freudian slip, I guess, huh? For Terra Firma folks to bathe in. And I don't know, maybe contamination isn't an issue when you transport from one place to another via the ET technology. I've already mentioned a minute ago living accommodations for the house personnel, which there should be people resident there too. You don't want to have. He doesn't want to have to hire outside people, you know, GQ public people, who, you know, loose lips sink ships. You know, you want to have everybody either as a hybrid or, whatever. Somebody's been cranked up and exclusively dedicated to Jay, and then Tim, you know, and nothing needs to leave the premises. No intel that people can tap into, hear and tap into, and use. And, you know, I'm also assuming, too, somewhere in the mix there that Jay is going to crank up the world and people are going to have better hearts and mindsets. So maybe it's not really an issue to contend with. So anyway, this contamination room, I think, for the meantime, might be important. Living accommodation should include, you know, a person's own mini kitchen, restroom, and shower, and entertainment systems as well. There should be a gym for all the personnel to wreak havoc in, you know. Set up boxing matches. I don't think the ETs box, do they? They're all kind-hearted at this point. So then there should be rooms tailored for ET visitors. Posturepedics. I wrote this down. I thought that was kind of interesting. These tall ETs, they're going to have at least 2 posturepedic mattresses put together to accommodate their height. And then the doors that they would customarily enter and exit from should be very lofty ones as opposed to the ones that we typically use. What's the length of these doorways these days? 7'6" or something, or 7'4" for a typical doorway? There's gonna be what? Maybe 9 feet. Who knows? So then it's important that somehow there's got to be compound security, in my opinion. And that is either a wall built around the whole perimeter of the property, which won't be possible if this mansion is located within city limits, I'm thinking, but that's going to have to be something. And then there'll have to be a security guard that will monitor this, as well as the TV cameras around the place. And I'm just, folks, maybe Jay's got this all lined up differently, but these days, the people out there are just not thinking correctly. They're out to do harm to people, and I'm just real concerned for Tim's safety, basically. Here's something I wrote down. I couldn't contain myself. Flip-flops for E.T.s and everyone. When I was living in the Philippines, it was customary that when you enter a house, you take off your shoes and you put on these zoris or flip-flops so you don't bring dirt into the household. So definitely those are going to have to be bigger size for the E.T.'s feet and on special order. Oversized bedding, of course, blankets. Food replicators, yeah, maybe that will be something, huh? Food replicators instead of having a chef or sous chef, and kitchenettes. I don't know, I forgot about that. And then specially sized desks and chairs for them, couches, snack bars, drinks dispensing bars, closets for clothing, if ever. I don't know, do they go around naked, That'd be kind of cold, wouldn't it? But in Florida, they wouldn't get cold, would they? Okay. Then there'll be, for fun, a community sauna and whirlpool to rest in. And E.T.'s want to experience Terra Firma at its best. Including sitting on the long side of a fish pond or something and dangling their feet and their large toenails in the water among the goldfish. If I was an E.T., I'd like doing that too myself. So then we're going on to, a tool shed with mechanic tools, carpentry tools for light repair, in between the circuit of technical folks that'll be going from maybe one mansion to another in another country or whatever. They'll beam me back, Scotty, and do the heavy loaded stuff that needs working on. Workspace fabrication room for complete large screen backup for off-prem communicating. That doesn't make sense. What am I trying to say here? Maybe I'm trying to say that there should be a common room with a huge screen for everybody to sit down on the couches, long couches lining the perimeter of the floor space, and they can all look at stuff on screen. Definitely dog kennels and cat living accommodations. I said kitchen tech. Well, that's included within the folks that are going to be repairing the whatever equipment in the kitchen and elsewhere in the mansion. So what do I have now? I talked about that. Having a common room with source and earthlings mingling among each other. A grab and go room for food or whatever, kind of like maybe in high school we had those down the hallways. There's all those what do you call? Senioritis kicking in here. Although the combination lock storage units like that for your books and clothes. See, that's another word I need to add to my list here that I keep forgetting. And I already talked about a reference library of all religions, E.T. history of people. And there's another thing I've already talked about. Boat docking. There's going to be maybe a private dock associated with that. So that's it for living accommodations. It's not inclusive of everything that probably should be considered, but I had fun just putting this stuff together. And, you know, at the end of it, I realized, you know, having a $10 million mansion, it's more hassle than it's worth, at least for me. I could, you know, I lived in the Philippines. I lived in a nipa hut in a cement cinder block building, and I used a bucket of water and a cup for the restroom. And it's like, give me some Magnolia ice cream and some tilapia fish. I'm good to go. But Tim, he's going to be a real special person. He needs to be pampered, so to speak. You know, and I don't mean that in a girl way. I'm just saying, you know, he needs the load taken off his back so that he can assume his full role of assisting the public at large, going through the quandaries and the delusions of what used to be God grandeur out there. And you know, we should support him the best we can, because he's a very important person. I don't know what other assignments Jay has lined up for other people out there, whether it's Alexis Hart or Siobhan or who else, Bershulander. I just and even Aya. I just don't know. I just don't know. So those videos explaining what they are going to be all about have not been included, I believe, within Walker Valsius channel. So in any case, I've had fun putting this together, and I hope you see it as just a playful art of playing with this idea that everybody you know, thinks would be grandiose, but well, in effect, no. He's going to be really challenged. Anyway, I'm you know, just making words here. I need to move on and take care of myself. So my next video will be about China. That's such a big thing. Oh my gosh. And I feel complicit in what's going to be happening there, but I don't know. I want to talk about it a little bit. You know, we can't, you know, tell Jay to be anything other than he is, because he really does understand what's required out there for humanity. And this existential change we're going to go through, how I'm telling you, I keep expecting, and I'm preparing. Hold on. Semi-downshifting. We got to be prepared for possible collapse of the economy, which, I don't know. Anyway, be good, be kind, give back to community, and have a delightful day, I guess.